Hey guys, Garrett McLaughlin here, and in this video what I want to show you is and talk about specifically pelvic control and how we implement that control in different single leg or split stance exercises. So when it comes to running, especially every time your foot strikes the ground and you go through mid stance, so we're striking the floor at initial contact, we're going in mid stance, there is a small degree of pelvic drop, usually about 3% or so. So we need that to absorb force. Unfortunately, a lot of the runners that I work with, and we do a running analysis, we break down those running mechanics to see, okay, where can we improve in terms of areas that they're currently breaking down. I'm seeing a lot of people strike the ground and then really losing position throughout their pelvis. So we're seeing a significant drop in that opposite side pelvis. So what I like to do in the strength training program, not just work on getting stronger, which I think is just the basic thought process of every strength training program, but teach runners how to better control their position. So as they strike the ground, we're not losing that stability and that control around this midsection area here. So first thing I would do is just, if I see someone that's again, overly dropping greater than that 3% that we see throughout the research there, is just teach someone how to perform a hip hike. So all a hip hike is if we think of just how I'm standing in this position right here, my right side pelvis, left side pelvis, obviously in this position because I'm up with my right foot kind of fixed on the elevated platform, my right side is higher than my left side. So all I would do is just teach here, and this is called the hip hike from a deficit, just teach someone how to come up and find neutral, if not slightly higher than. Okay, so it's just a basic retraining drill to teach someone how to find that position and control the pelvis. So more so improving neuromuscular control around the pelvis, because what we want to do is teach this in a controlled environment, then put it into single leg and split stance exercises to better implement it and kind of execute that with the running. So that's just a simple drill. I don't usually add a lot of repetitions on this one, anywhere from again, a set of 10 to 20 or so, but just doing that one time to appreciate the position. One thing we want to make sure of as we complete this hip hike is the whole body is not twisting. So a lot of times when people come up here, they almost exaggerate that position. You can see what happens. My whole body is twisting to the side. I want to do it just enough that I can stay vertical. So for me, I like to tell a lot of runners, hey, look in the mirror, get a full length mirror or something to set up so you can see your position, find the position of the pelvis, and then as you come up, keep yourself level across the shoulders. So the shoulders do not tilt. That's our first time we're doing it incorrectly. Again, I'm not tilting the pelvis in that instance. I'm tilting my entire body, which looks like I'm tilting the pelvis. Can I stay up tall and vertical? And just isolate that position at the pelvis, okay? So that's the first step. Once we learn that and we can better appreciate that, it's putting it into different exercises, right? One thing I commonly see, especially when it comes to different lunge variations, people, again, I always want people to go heavier because I want them to be more tolerant to higher loads because we're landing with so much force and so much of our body weight coming down that building strength and heavier lifting is helpful. But if you go too heavy and you're not controlling your pelvis, we're losing that stability component that's going to really not improve our running overall. So just to kind of show you a demonstration here, one thing I see people do is reverse lunges. And as they go, you'll see just that twist and that drop of that opposite side pelvis, meaning they're losing stability and control throughout the midsection. It's the same thing I'll see as people do step ups. So here you can see I'm already off. I set up purposely in that position and then kind of driving up into step up, coming back down and twisting. So you can see that amount of motion throughout the pelvis there. We want to stay away from that. So really being able to control our pelvis through different positions is very important because that's going to help us once we get out there on the road or the trail. So just to show you from the back here, I'm going to show a basic split squat from front and back. Back first. So if we set up here, I always like to start down on the ground or even set up with a light small pad under the knee. So I'm not too low. The lower I go, the more twist I'm going to get here at the pelvis or drop. So from here, what I'm going to do is as soon as I lift up, you can see I'm leveling out and I'm trying to maintain that position as I go through the split squat. Legs are aligned, pelvis is level, I'm not dropping, which you'll see. A lot of people, as they bend that back knee and drop, they're twisting, maintaining that levelness throughout the pelvis. So whether I'm holding a dumbbell in each hand, holding some other weights, kettlebells, barbell, whatever it is, that is the control through the pelvis that we want to promote. So just to see that from the front, good, starting down to the other side, starting down, knee on the pad, legs aligned, finding position of the pelvis first. So I always recommend doing this body weight first just to teach that proper position, because a lot of times when we grab dumbbells, we're unable to truly appreciate unless we're looking in the mirror. And then as soon as I lift up, I'm finding level. So I'm not overly dropping throughout the hips. So you can see what happens when I drop. Hip tends to jut out. We have more of this angle as this knee wants to come in. We tend to lose stability. So we want to stay level. Move this pelvis, spine, hips as a unit as we go up and down rather than dropping that opposite side. So that's in a simple split squat or stationary lunge variation. The next position where I always have people reinforce pelvic control is the step up, because now we're getting truly single leg. So with the step up, and you can see here, this is a fairly low step. I could even start lower than this for some people. Majority of my runners, we start on the first step in their staircase, because the higher we go, just for instance, if I was going up here, I'm automatically setting up in a position where my pelvis is twisted or dropped on that opposite side. So starting lower requires less range of motion, where we can promote a nice level position, and then we can progress to there. By no means do I ever really need to do a step up this high. I want something nice, low, where I can work on stability and control of the movement. So just to show you here, levelness of the pelvis, trying to find that position. You can see where that hip height comes in. I'm setting up properly so that pelvis is level. And then from there, I'm driving up, I'm controlling down. A big tendency on step-ups, lunges, I mean, a lot of these movements, people always think of the back leg is lowering to the ground. This top leg is doing all the work. That back leg just touches the ground when it touches the ground. I don't want you to overly think about, hey, I'm coming up and then reaching for the floor. I want this one just to touch the floor when it touches, because this is doing all the work right here. So finding level through the pelvis, step up, controlling with that top leg. The more I let this side reach for the ground, the more the pelvis will lose position. Okay, so it's nice and controlled. You can see the slower I go on this one, the more I can really emphasize a nice level position, and then I'm not losing stability as much. A big thing we see a lot of times when the pelvis drops, we tend to lose this position here, this levelness. The knee wants to come in, that foot wants to collapse, body wants to tilt over to compensate. So for those of you if you feel like, hey, I don't have good balance, I don't have good stability, I've struggled with arch, plantar fascia, calf, Achilles, IT band, again, lateral hip issues in the past, this is a really good place to shift for some of your focus, because thinking about the pelvis a little bit more, which most runners tend to neglect, could really pay dividends to your running and overall strength and stability down the road.